Off to the races. That is the shot. Ooh, hello. Oh no, hope I don't light this. Scooby? What is that, Mark? I have no idea what you're talking about. SML, good to see you. I don't know, on your YouTube right now. Where in the world is? Stay tuned, broadcaster from tonight. Step in from the Netherlands. What is up? Are you watching the World Cup? Did you see the game today? Whoa, Spain! Hostia! Hostia, tío! I mean, come on. Wow. It is going to be quite the day tomorrow, huh? Hi. I am in New York.
All right, we're going to try that
Okay.
E-block, buddy.
Let's do the E-block. Let's do it.
Yes,
All right, guys, you get a sneak peek of the E-block. Let's go forward in time so we could go back in time in a little bit here. All right, here's what we're doing. New Orleans is in the house too. Hello, how's it going? Let's see. I used to watch Carmen Sandiego when I was a kid. What up, Lise? All right. We're back in Evie's world. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. World Cup action is back as the first team has officially punched their ticket to the World Cup final. Spain, the Spanish team pulling off in a convincing victory. Winning that. Can't it's sweat or sweet? Sweet. Sweet? Sweat? Got it. All right.
5, 4, 3.
All right. World Cup action back as the first team has officially, sorry, one more time. My bad. Officially. That's not a word, guys. It's not a word, Lisa. Officially.
Stand by. 5, 4, 3.
All right, World Cup action is back, and the first team has officially punched their ticket to the World Cup final. That is España, the Spanish team, pulling off a convincing victory over France, winning that semifinal game 2-0. Now it awaits the winner of Argentina and England, who play tomorrow. Candace Sweat from NBC's station down in Dallas-Fort Worth had the game, and she was there a little bit earlier. Watch this report.
Gotti, the energy was electric. There were more than 70,000 fans who were able to get coveted seats inside of Dallas Stadium, but for the ones who could not, they found the nearest screen outside at Live by Lowe's, and they watched down to the very second. All along, Spain fans have been incredibly confident in what their team could do, and that absolutely makes sense, because if no one else believes in your team, your fan base will. And I have a feeling that Spain fans will be celebrating all evening long. As for France, a little bit of a disappointment. They just could not pull it off. It would have been their third straight trip to the final game, but that just didn't happen. We were able to talk to fans on both sides when the match ended.
The way Spain plays soccer is the most beautiful art of football. That's what we're looking for.
I'm very excited. I haven't seen this country play that well in so long, and there was definitely been some rough patches, but I'm glad they made it to the finals.
This is an experience like no other. Of course, I have my favorite teams. Of course, I want them to win. But it's about the sport, the community, and the global participation. It is better that humans share something that is positive rather than something that it is negative.
Hey, honestly, we all were shocked, but we had so much pride in our team. We knew they were going to come out. Everyone thought France was going to win, but the underdogs always make it to the top.
And so those tens of thousands of fans are now spilling out of the stadium into the streets of Dallas. And I have a feeling, again, that these Spain fans are going to light up the city all night long. That confidence is going to carry them over into who they match up with next. It's going to be between Argentina and England. But we are here at Live by Lowe's, where the energy, again, has been incredibly electric. In Arlington, Texas, Candace Sweat, NBC.
Candace, thank you so much, and shout out for finding the most poetic French fan ever. And finally tonight, life finds a way to, I don't know, a huge payday. Take a look at this. This awesome T-Rex skeleton sold for just over $50 million. The price tag for those fossilized bones, nicknamed Gus, set an auction record as the most expensive dinosaur fossil ever sold. Not without some controversy, though. Marquise Francis has more on this incredible Jurassic sale.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, the king of the dinosaurs 60 million years ago. Today, fetching a king's ransom at auction. The fossilized skeleton, nicknamed Gus, setting a new record, sold at auction for just over $50 million, Sotheby's says. The ancient apex predator, 38 feet long and 12.5 feet high, about the size of a yellow school bus.
Gus is one of the biggest and most complete T-Rex ever found.
Sotheby's putting out this video to hype the auction, saying Gus is 61% complete by bone count and nearly 80% complete by total mass, ranking up there with famous T-Rexes like the Chicago Field Museum's Sue. It was found by commercial paleontologist Thomas Heitkamp and his team, commissioned in 2021 to find fossils on a South Dakota ranch. They spotted one bone, a needle in a 6,500-acre haystack. Heitkamp making the case for private funding for such excavations.
We're in some pretty remote, dense areas that are hard to get to, that are expensive to get to, that are logistically dangerous. No one else is looking in those places.
NBC News was unable to reach him for comment. Digging Gus up and rebuilding the skeleton took years. Now it's payday. The colossal price tag is unearthing concerns about its scientific value and who will have access to it. A recent study found that the majority of discovered T-Rex fossils are privately owned, making it harder for museums to acquire specimens as prices rise.
If we want to understand how smart T-Rex was, what it ate, how it moved, what its world was like, its environment was like, this fossil really is a crown jewel.
Dinosaur fossils, a hot commodity for the super rich. Another T-Rex, Stan, sold for more than $30 million in 2020. And the Stegosaurus, Apex, sold for almost $45 million in 2024. In both cases, the buyers loaned the fossils to museums. Paleontologist Dr. Steve Brusati says he hopes whoever bought Gus will do the same.
Donate it to a museum. Get it out there. Make it so it's not only you that can enjoy this, but millions of people. That's how you can make a real impact.
The dinosaurs couldn't escape the destructive force of an asteroid in the prehistoric world. Now, their legacy trying to survive between market forces of capitalism and advancing science. Marquise Francis, NBC News.
Capitalism and dinosaurs. Marquise Francis, thank you very much. That's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Gotti Schwartz. We'll see you here tomorrow. But until then, stay tuned to NBC News. All right. Hi says, has this new set convinced you to move to New York? I mean, that's a good question, but no. Have you been to Los Angeles? This weather? I'm like, oh yeah, this air-conditioned studio is so nice, and then I go outside and I'm like, whoa, what is this humidity?
Guys, this has been the topic. This has been the
Jay
topic
Place,
of
who comes-
discussion.
Huh?
I said this has been the topic of discussion for the last 24 hours.
It sure has.
So,
Hey, Jay Place says, who comes up with the jokes in the lower thirds?
did he get the Rauer one?
Yeah, I mean, SNL liked it too.
That was a newsroom one. There was a bunch of people in the newsroom like
Ooh.
that and got that.
I love it.
Dinosaur.
I believe Default said, yo mama. 2 minutes to the show. Uh-oh. Time flies when you're streaming. I think something happened. I dropped out, but I'm back. Can you see me now? Dun, 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 dun. All right, we're walking at the top, right? And then we're going to Garrett, right? Okie dokie. There you go.
1 minute away.
1 minute. All right, going back out. I don't know what's going on here. I'm sorry, what was that?
Starting at the 80 and then walking to this.
Okay. Which one is the 80? This one.
It's that same mark we had, and then back.
Got it. Okay. All right. Are we tossing the sound here? Okay, got it.
Stand, walk, and then toss, and then go back.
Okay.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, stand by.
Hey there, I'm Gotti Schwartz, and tonight a peace plan looking pretty tattered. A blockade back on. The U.S. and Iran seem to be back where they were almost 5 months ago, trading strikes. This is a fourth day of consecutive attacks. It looks a lot like all of the bombing that we were seeing at the start of the war. CENTCOM is saying there are over a dozen Navy warships right now, hundreds of military aircraft that remain, quote, lethal and ready. All traffic seems to be already slowing down in the strait. That whole charging tolls thing seems to be out the window, with the president now saying that he's replacing the 20% reimbursement fee idea with trade and investment deals. Now let's get straight out to NBC's Garrett Haake for more on this. So Garrett, why did the president go from saying there was going to be the 20% protection toll thing to whatever these investment opportunities are? That seems like a pretty big U-turn.
It's a significant reversal, Gotti, and we don't know everything about the process, but we do know that the president's own administration was saying weeks ago that the kind of tolls or fees he was describing are illegal in international waterways. The president has long complained about the idea that the U.S. acts as the world's policeman, or in this case, the Straits policeman, essentially for free, out of the goodness of our heart. He wants to get paid for it, and he said today he received some phone calls from some of our allies in the Gulf suggesting another way to do it. Here's what the president said.
What's the situation on the audio?
I was called by different people, different countries, kings and emirs and all of the people that we all know and we all love, and they've been very strong partners. And they said, we'd love to do it a different way. We'd love to invest in the United States with billions and billions of dollars.
I think there are a couple of reasons to look at that comment skeptically from the president. Notably, no country in the region or elsewhere stepped forward to say that they had one of these calls and offered anything specific to the president in exchange for policing the Strait. Secondarily, a lot of the investments that were promised during the president's trip to the Middle East a little more than a year ago now still have not yet come to fruition. So, it's possible he's conflating things from that trip to this moment. We simply don't know right now what, if anything, was actually promised, or if the president simply tested the waters, if you will, around this idea of a fee and then looked for some way to back out of it.
And Garrett, with more strikes happening right now, does it look like there are any off-ramps on the horizon at all?
Not particularly. I mean, this is the fourth consecutive day of strikes against, sort of what I think you could call the traditional military targets in Iran. These are drone sites, missile sites, radar sites, kind of anything that we could find that we hadn't hit already. The president said in an interview that aired this evening that starting next week, he wants to start targeting bridges and power plants and energy infrastructure. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's a threat he made before in the lead up to the initial ceasefire. It's possible that the threat itself was effective then in forcing Iran back to to the negotiating table. He clearly hopes it will be now. But he also said earlier this week that he's done talking. So it's not at all clear at this moment kind of what the next steps are in this, other than to continue this kind of war that isn't quite a war, with limited strikes essentially every night in Iran.
A war that isn't quite a war. I mean, you know, the semantics of the language here makes you wonder what's going to happen in Congress, right? You know, Trump did write to Congress that fighting with Iran has resumed. So does that mean officially that we are back in a war here with that 60-day clock now ticking? I mean, what is the latest on the War Powers Resolution?
Well, look, if you want to be really technical about it, we're not in a war because Congress still hasn't voted to declare one, and they're the only body that can. What the president did with that letter is essentially reset this 60-day clock of notifications to Congress, which in and of itself is really only enforceable or matters if Congress decides it wants to enforce it. And what we saw kind of, you know, earlier this year was eventually enough Republicans coming across to say that they would be willing to vote to rein in the president's powers after the ceasefire had already been achieved. Whether there are enough Republicans as we approach a midterm election to join with Democrats and say this really has to stop and stop now, I think is yet another open question that we won't know the answer to, although history suggests that that kind of pushback against the commander-in-chief of their own party is unlikely.
Yeah, Garrett Haake at the White House. Garrett, thank you. And while a lot of the focus is on the war with Iran, the war in Ukraine continues to rage on. Today, Ukrainian officials say Russia attacked a civilian ship in the Black Sea hours after Vladimir Putin promised retaliation. Ukraine once again pushing the bounds of drones in autonomous warfare. This is video from this week showing unmanned drones attacking Russian ships. Ukraine has said it hit more than 100 ships in the last 9 days. Meanwhile, Russia continues their large-scale missiles and drone attacks on Ukrainian cities. Russian officials say this video from over the weekend shows 2 glide bombs hitting the area, killing 4 people. Let's bring in retired Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis, host of Danny Davis Deep Dive. Thanks so much for being with us. Where do things stand right now with Russia and Ukraine? Who has the momentum?
You know, nobody really has momentum. This is a long, grinding war of attrition. Russia still has all the advantages because they have all the advantages that go into winning a war of attrition. They have more men, they have more ammunition, they have more industrial capacity, and they've got more drones, bombs, and fighter jets. They have more of all the things, and including mostly of all men. They have millions more. None of that has changed, and the Ukraine side continues to lose men. You saw they had riots in Lviv about a week or so ago because when these people go out to try and make people go into the army, now then they're resisting and doing, beating the people that are actually trying to get them in there. But the problem is that the drones on the Ukraine side are very substantial and very advanced, but they're also substantial and advanced on the Russian side. So that's kind of neutral. That's a wash. Everything else is on the Russian favor. So now then you're seeing with these advancements into the more and more long-range strikes, both from Russia to Ukraine and vice versa, and now you're seeing the naval activity. Ukraine has been hitting a lot of civilian Russian ships, grain transports, civilian vessels, and now Russia said, we're not just going to let that happen. So now then they're starting to hit the same. So we're expanding the targets. The West is saying, hey, we're going to keep on providing whatever Ukraine needs. But the problem with all this, Gotti, is that there's no objective in mind. There's not any path that, all right, if we do this, then Russia will lose and Ukraine will win. There's just more activity, violence on both sides. Meanwhile, Russia is, over time, will eventually ground down the Ukraine side. But that's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
This commercial ship attack by Russia, do you see that as a major escalation, or is this going to just fade into the rest of the relentless fighting that we see?
No, not at all, because it hasn't gotten a lot of press in the West, but the Ukraine side has a campaign of hitting civilian Russian ships, especially all around the Sea of Azov, and Russia has finally started striking back. So if anything, the Ukraine side has escalated into the seas, and now Russia seems to be belatedly joining in.
Interesting. And there's been so much talk about Senator Lindsey Graham's sudden passing here. What is the United States relationship with Ukraine looking like going forward without somebody like Lindsey Graham with his voice so close to the president's ear?
Well, listen, I mean, even with him, all the things that he had done and all of the sanctions that he had advocated, all of the support packages that he had gone, none of them had any impact on the war. So his passing, and we're just talking about terms of what is and isn't successful, it won't make any difference because he was about to, stall a new sanctions package on the Russians, but there's already been 22 from the European Union, plus a whole slew of ours. Russia is basically sanctions proof, so it wasn't going to make a difference whether he was here or whether he wasn't. And I'm afraid nothing is going to make a difference because the things that go into the fundamentals of war are just too heavily weighted on Russian side, and you're just not going to reverse them.
Interesting. Do you think that the United States or the administration might also see it that way?
They definitely don't. I mean, you saw President Trump entered office saying he was going to end this in a day. And then he said, well, I was just kidding. It was really 100 days. And then it was like, all right, well, it's going to take a little longer than I thought. And then after 18 months, basically, he just gave up. And now then Marco Rubio last month said, you know what, we picked a side and we picked Ukraine. And then they had this $8 billion package, whatever. Now there's apparently going to be some sanctions, et cetera. But there's no pathway for us to do anything other than say we're going to stop our support for the Ukraine side and require them to have a negotiated settlement, or we're just going to continue to give them enough to keep the troops fed or whatever and a minimal amount of ammunition, but it won't make a difference and it will only prolong the suffering on the Ukraine side. That's the harsh reality, what we have here. Yeah. It's not going to make a difference.
No, you've always shot us so straight on all this. I mean, I hate to ask you point blank, but what do you think is going to end this war?
What I think is going to end this war is either the Ukraine side is eventually going to collapse because like these riots that we saw, that's a red flag that the foundation for the manpower on the Ukraine side could beginning to fray, or it'll take another year or 2 years and finally Russia will just ground them down because there's just more of everything that goes into making war on the Russian side. Those are the two options I see.
Yeah, Danny Davis, really appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Turning now to that deadly ICE shooting in Maine. New details tonight as ICE agents are now being told to halt most traffic stops. An immigrant rights group says in Maine that the man who was shot and killed by ICE was here legally and authorized to work in the United States. And a Maine senator saying that the 26-year-old Colombian was not the target ICE was looking for. DHS has not confirmed his immigration status. Meanwhile, protests continuing today over 2 shootings now in the last week, with outrage over the lack of body cameras worn by agents. Aaron McLaughlin has more.
ICE has ordered all officers to stop targeting immigrants in their vehicles after 2 separate ICE-involved shooting deaths in less than a week. That according to 2 senior DHS officials. Border Czar Tom Homan saying tonight,
it's not a policy change. It's a temporary pause.
Officials say neither man, one killed in Texas, the other in Maine, was the target of the ICE operation.
Yes. There are sufficient critical questions to justify bringing non-emergency traffic stops to a halt.
The order comes after yesterday's fatal shooting in Biddeford, Maine. The Colombian embassy today identified the man killed as 26-year-old Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero, who DHS confirmed was authorized to work in the U.S. New video shows the car he was driving moving in circles, then later struck by another vehicle. This video capturing the moment ICE agents pulled a limp body from the car. Another angle shows police ringing the doorbell of a nearby pawn shop, asking what cameras the building has.
I need to know what they have for cameras.
Resident Cecilia Humiston says she saw Guerrero's family, including a little girl, gathered just yards away.
She was still wearing her bluey PJs, and the mother of the daughter, she was like completely distraught.
A senior DHS official with knowledge of the incident told NBC News the man killed matched the physical description of a target and was exiting a residence associated with the target. A statement released by ICE late yesterday said the agent opened fire fearing for public safety after the vehicle attempted to flee. Authorities say none of the agents in Texas or Maine were wearing body cameras.
There's no excuse for it. They have no end of money.
A former and a current senior DHS official tells NBC News that they believe the pressure to increase the number of arrests is to blame for this latest violence, adding they believe the agents are under too much stress. Gotti.
Aaron McLaughlin, thank you. And out of Texas, where arrests have been made in the drowning case of a high school swimmer, the teen's body is now saying there should have been more charges in that case. Now, let's back up just for a second here. Level set 3 months ago, 18-year-old Daniel Irving was reported missing, right? 4 days later, his body was found in Lake Ray Hubbard. Now, according to the arrest affidavit, Irving's friends say they went fishing and they jumped from a bridge into the lake when Irving drowned. His friends allegedly panicked, left Irving's body in the water for several days, ditched his clothing and his cell phone. Those two friends were charged with evidence tampering last week. Let's bring in NBC's George Solis. George, this all happened in April. Why did it take so long to make these arrests?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, Gotti, and it's the focus of not only the investigation, it's also the cry of advocacy groups who are demanding a little bit more transparency. Today, attorney Ben Crump, alongside Daniel Irving's mother, in a press conference today, demanding more answers, demanding accountability. His mother at one point saying she tried to call the local authorities there when her son had essentially vanished, saying that the police department was evasive, that they hung up on her, saying her son would never do something along these lines. And Ben Crump saying this is unacceptable, saying that they need a more thorough investigation. The Dallas Police Department eventually taking over the case tonight, saying not only do they express their condolences, but reminding people that this is still an open and active criminal investigation. Again, the family pressing for murder charges, but it's still unclear if the agency is going to move forward with any new charges, Scotty.
And the family is also conducting their own investigation here. What do we know about that?
Yeah, that's right. So, as I mentioned, Ben Crump, alongside Daniel Irving's mother today at a press conference, saying that she did not know these two boys that her son was with, that they purportedly, according to that affidavit, had gone fishing to this popular spot, but saying that none of the story is really adding up. She was very emotional during that press conference. Here's what she said.
I've never met the two boys. I've never met them before. I would say that they were wolves in sheep clothing. They were not friends.
I believe that they did it intentionally, knowingly, willingly, and intentionally.
Absolutely heartbreaking. The mother saying that they weren't even able to provide a memorial service yet because it was just that painful right now, as there's still so many lingering questions. Attorney Ben Crump, of course, drawing some parallels to the case in Mississippi right now, the case of Nolan Wells. Again, right now, it's so many unanswered questions. The family, again, demanding for accountability and more transparency.
George Solis, thank you. Turning now to the turbulent summer weather season unfolding before us. The flooding in Texas is getting very dangerous. Look at these videos. A car swept away by the waters, a flooded parking lot, a flooded backyard. A weapons physicist who worked at Joyce Base San Antonio Lackland was driving home from work when he got trapped in the flood. He was killed in those waters. Meanwhile, this is what the sky looks like out in Maine. Jay Blackman, a producer and a friend of the show, filmed this while on vacation there. Smoke from the wildfires in Canada drifting over to the United States, which is creating air quality issues for the north. And that heat plus humidity, it is extremely oppressive, over 100 degrees in a lot of places across the country. Now let's get out to NBC's Ryan Chandler, who is on the ground in a very swampy San Antonio, Texas. Ryan, what's it looking like out there?
Well, Gotti, we're on Highway 90 just west of San Antonio, leading into Uvalde, and we've seen some incredibly concerning travel situations getting out here. We actually couldn't get all the way into Uvalde, which appears swamped from the aerial view we've seen. Some of the main roads there are almost impassable and have been throughout the day. But we couldn't reach there. DPS and Border Patrol were turning hundreds of cars around right on this busy corridor. One of the only ways to get into Uvalde from San Antonio, because there was water on the roads. Could have been a life-threatening situation if cars were to drive through that. But you see this situation behind me, this field that's just inundated with water. That's creating a very dangerous situation as we expect more rain to fall tonight. It's not going to have anywhere to go and could make the flash flood risk that much more overnight into the morning, Gotti.
Wow. What are people saying?
Well, we spoke today actually with the Medina County fire chief, and he said that for all intents and purposes today, they actually got off pretty fortunate. They did have 3 high water rescues on the roads, but did not have anybody injured. There were no deaths to report today. So that is fortunate, but he said that they are very worried about as many as 10 inches of rain that could fall over this area tonight onto very saturated ground. So he said, while we got through today, tomorrow could be that much worse.
Yeah, it does seem, though, that they have somewhat of a heads up. How is the state responding?
Well, the governor declared a state of disaster in 59 different counties. It's a massive area across central and southwest Texas. He says that he's been pre-positioning resources at all levels of government, from boats, the Texas game warden going out to rescue some people today, Black Hawk helicopters, everything to tackle this from the land, the water, and the sky. I will say most of those resources have not been needed to be utilized yet, but the state says that they are ready in case the situation gets so much worse tomorrow.
Yeah, better be prepared. Ryan Chandler, thank you. And now for the forecast, we've got NBC's Bill Cairns. So, Bill, is it good news or bad news that we're looking at here?
Gotti, I have to say it's good news that we made it through the first half of this flood threat in Texas with no fatalities, no injuries, minor damage. But we still have to get through tonight and tomorrow, which is going to feature some very heavy rain in areas that already have standing water. So some good and some bad. Here's the forecast for the rest of tonight into tomorrow. This high-risk area is the greatest level of concern. That's a 4 out of 4. Typically, about 40% of all of our fatalities come from these high-risk areas in terms of flash flooding. And then this moderate risk does include San Antonio, borders Austin, all the way back here towards Del Rio. So again, this will be tonight through tomorrow. We've had a little bit of a break over the last couple hours. We got drenched last night. Some areas picked up 10 inches of rain. Now it's quiet. Then the storms will refire up later tonight and be with us all tomorrow morning. And unfortunately, they could be in the same West Texas area that we still have standing water. And we still have that one flash flood warning. But in all, about 5 million people, including San Antonio and Austin and Temple, Texas, are under flood watches, because anyone in this region has a chance of getting these slow-moving storms. Our computers are hinting at the area of greatest concern, as advertised in that high risk, is near Uvalde to Del Rio, Kerrville, or to San Antonio. Somewhere in this is someone's going to get another 8 to 10 inches later on tonight. As far as the heat headlines go, the middle of the country and the southern half of the country is doing okay, but South Florida is in a heat advisory. We still got the heat advisories and excessive heat warnings, interior sections of Southern California. Today was one of the warmest days you've seen in a couple of years in Milwaukee. You flirted with 100 degrees today, and now we're going to watch those temperatures into the northeast. But there's an interesting little caveat to this forecast. There was a lot of smoke in the air today. Tomorrow it's going to be similar, and even into Thursday morning. There's some big fires burning in northern Minnesota and southern Ontario, and that smoke forecast is supposed to cover a lot of the Great Lakes and portions of the Northeast. You'll notice it especially at sunrise and sunset. You'll get that orange glow in the sky, and that also may keep the temperatures down a little bit. But besides that, we could have some problems with ozone and wildfire smoke for pollution. So we do have alerts up for a lot of people tomorrow, the Great Lakes and the busy I-95 corridor. We will have a chance, even with the smoke particles, of breaking a couple record highs out there. It's not going to be as hot as it was the heat wave about a week and a half ago, but Washington, D.C., New York will flirt with records. Same goes for Richmond, and this heat will stay with us in the mid-Atlantic, and along with it, we're going to take up the thermostat and add that humidity to it. Areas like Raleigh and Norfolk and D.C., not going to be an enjoyable weekend unless you're by a pool or in the AC. Back to you, guys.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of 90s and 100s. Bill Cairns, thank you. And don't go anywhere. Coming up next, growing concerns over a parasitic outbreak that officials are still trying to narrow down. You probably have heard of this one, but signs are pointing to possible produce. Plus, a man is pulled over after he's caught on camera throwing fireworks from his car while driving on a highway from a forward-looking infrared. More on that coming up next. And also, if you see this QR code, feel free to scan through with your phone. You can chat live. You can let us know your thoughts all hour long. We are having that conversation right now. So come behind the scenes, streaming on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. Let's go. All right, there we go. Yes, let's do it. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Have they started it? Have they started the presser already? Okay.
We're still
yeah, let's do
conducting
it.
an active search of the area. We have a less
All right, let's roll the dice. Got it. Okay, and we've got the video on loop.
1 minute.
And then the video of the incident. Do we have a picture-in-picture or something? Okay. All right, you do your thing. Real quick, chat. So here's what's happening. It sounds like there's been some sort of incident out in the Bay Area. Some sort of vessel off the coast of Alcatraz may have caught on fire. People in the water. Rescues happening as we speak. There's still one person that they don't know exactly where they're at. So we've got, it sounds like there's a press conference that just started out in the Bay Area. We're going to be taking that live. Liz Kreutz, she's working on getting some details, so we're going to bring her in live as well. But it seems like something that's happening right now. So this is breaking news. This is how it happens. You guys hear it first here, and we're about to bring it to you on the show.
8, 7, 6, 5 seconds, 4, 3.
And breaking news on the coast of San Francisco. Fire broke out on a boat near Alcatraz Island a short time ago. By the time a local news helicopter made it to the scene, the flames were out. That boat was already starting to sink. You see those dramatic images right there. The fire department says at least 17 people were on what they called a pontoon pleasure boat that disappeared under the waves there. We know at least one person appears to have died. That boat was about 600 yards away from Alcatraz when the fire started. Let's take a look at a press conference that's happening right now.
At this point, we hear that it launched from somewhere near the St. Francis Yacht Club. Again, there were 19 folks on the boat, and it seemed like a recreational type vessel, but that's all we know at this point.
Hold on, I'm gonna go around to everyone, but I just want to.
For those two that are missing, what's the prognosis? Do we think they're alive? Do we think they're dead? What do you realistically expect?
So our standard operating procedures are to continue to search as long as it's safe for us to search. So we have our divers are in the water currently searching the surface, and we have the helicopters searching above, and we also have a float so we can identify where potentially people would move if they were in the water. So this search will go on for some time.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna do one at a time, please. You gotta raise your hands if you're gonna ask a question. Hold on. I'm going here, and then I will come back there. But please go ahead.
I know you can't identify anyone yet because you're still notifying family, but can you tell us a little bit about the people that were on board? Were there any children on board, or the approximate ages of the people who you're looking for? Any kind of information about that?
Sure. So we are unaware of any children being on this particular vessel. They all appear to be adults. Unfortunately, there was one dog that was declared deceased that was on the boat as well. And that's all the information we have at this point.
In the back. And can you describe when you guys got on scene what it looked like?
Sure. So the reports we received from the SFPD Marine Unit was a vessel that was capsized and mostly under the water with some leaking fuel and some exhaust still emitting from the motor still operating, and at least one person in the water currently, and then a massive rescue operation was conducted to get the other folks out of the top compartment of the vessel.
And do we believe there was any fire or just a capsize?
At this point, we don't have a report of fire. Initially, it was reported as a fire, but we don't have evidence of any of our members or PD members witnessing fire itself.
Sergio, what are the conditions out there? Was it difficult in kind of the water conditions, windy, any of that kind of stuff? Did that kind of make any kind of further challenges?
Sure. So this time of day, this time of year in San Francisco, there's going to be white caps on the water. So it is very challenging for our members to conduct this rescue. It may continue to be windy, or it may calm down a little bit, but we're going to continue to search either way.
Yeah, go ahead. KCBS.
How big is the search area?
So I can get an exact figure for you, but I mean, we're assuming that if there's an individual in the water, they're going to continue to go east because of the way that the tides are moving and the way that the wind is blowing. So we're going to continue to move east, and we'll give you an actual search area when we get that.
Betty?
Can you tell us when this will go from rescue to recovery, especially as we get later into the evening tonight? What are you up against?
Sure. So right now we are in full rescue mode. We have divers in the water and again 11 vessels conducting a search. So we're going to continue at least until dark, and we'll give you updates as they come in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you speak as to any of the injuries that those hospitalized have?
Sure. So the initial injuries that we are hearing about are mostly impact injuries from falling as they fell into the water. We don't have any reports of burns or any other types of injuries at this point, but we'll update as they come in.
want to, yeah, go ahead. I want to make sure I get everyone on.
What do you know about the cause of the fire? Is there explosions?
That will be investigated by several agencies, but we haven't even commenced that investigation yet. We don't have any information on that.
Chief, will you just say what you said again? We're not
Yeah.
sure if there's a fire yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to be clear, there was no reports of fire, the chief said before.
Okay, so wondering if those on board were wearing life vests, if all of them had life vests, and also when you firefighters or life scene, first responders scene, were people on the boat as it was capsizing? Were they in the water? What was the layout?
So the understanding that I have is that there were both. Some people were in the water, some people were on the boat, some people were just falling into the water. So we didn't have reports of folks wearing life vests at this point, but that will be determined because we did bring them in and perhaps they have been taken off and put in the marine units, but we'll update as that information comes available.
For those 13 that were congregated there, what's their demeanor like? Obviously this is very traumatizing. When you spoke to them, what were they like?
I spoke with several of them and clearly they're incredibly upset. They're aware that there's some serious injuries here. They're concerned about their mates that they went out on the bay with. And obviously we're going to take good care of them here at the concourse building and get as many services to them as available.
Yeah, go ahead. Hold on. If I can't see you, then I don't know you have a question. So go ahead and please raise your hand and I'll come to you.
I know both San Francisco Fire and San Francisco Police Department train on the water for rescues like this. Can you tell me a little bit about the capabilities of San Francisco Fire and also of SFPD in terms of being able to pull people out of the water? How do you prepare for this?
Sure. So we train on a regular basis between our Marine unit and the PD Marine unit. We had our rescue watercraft, which are jet skis out on the water, which are very maneuverable and very good for a search of this type. We conduct diving operations and train consistently on that. So this went really smooth on that end of it. Obviously a tragic result, but the training did pay off in recovering as many victims as we did.
In the back? Do I have one in the back?
Oh, you said the boat was completely flipped over by the time you got there?
My understanding was beginning to submerge and just the top level, apparently it's a 3-level pontoon boat, and just the top level was visible at some point as it was sinking.
So it didn't flip, it was just sinking?
Unclear at this time.
All right, I get the last one, Betty.
There was somebody that was getting CPR about an hour or so ago. Do you know the status of that person?
So yes, that is the individual who was brought in by the San Francisco Police Department Marine Unit, and they have been declared deceased.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And we were just watching a press conference out of the Bay Area officials giving the very latest on the video that you were seeing. If we have that video, it is a very dramatic image. It appears as though there was a pleasure craft, a pontoon-style pleasure craft that was sinking in the bay. This is some of the rescue that you're seeing happen before that boat, the vessel, slipped under the waves. We understand that 19 people may have been on board, 17 of them rescued. There may be 2 missing. Again, the numbers are just coming in. We understand from that press conference that one person, somebody was performing CPR on somebody that was pulled out of the water. They have been declared deceased. Fire officials and rescue officials saying that they are going to continue to search until it gets dark there, and then they will be providing another update. But once again, that happening just off the coast of Alcatraz in the Bay Area. And turning now to a very rough time for thousands of people getting hit with some sort of parasitic outbreak with explosive symptoms. They aren't exactly sure where it's coming from, but authorities are saying be very careful when it comes to washing things like fruits and vegetables. So far, it looks like the situation has spread across at least 34 states, 7,000 cases that they know of so far nationwide, with Michigan seeming to get the worst of it. Over 3,000 cases there, while Ohio, New York, and North Carolina seen a lot of it as well. And now federal and state of health officials are looking into whether Taco Bell might have played a role in the outbreak. NBC's Ann Thompson has more.
Tonight, 34 states grappling with cyclospora, the parasite that can be found on fresh produce, making Americans sick. Michigan zeroing in on lettuce. Its top doc says there is a clear preliminary signal pointing to the leafy green.
Why do you suspect lettuce? We've interviewed about 1,000 out of the 3,000 cases we have so far. Lettuce seems to be an ongoing exposure for those who've been impacted.
Federal officials say Michigan is one of 4 Midwestern states where the cases could be linked. Taco Bell today confirming it removed limited ingredients at select restaurants while authorities continue their broader review, noting public health officials have not confirmed a link to Taco Bell. The Washington Post reports federal and state health officials are investigating the chain, citing 2 individuals familiar with the probe. CDC did not comment. Michigan's Dr. Bagdasarian.
So there was no location that came up in 100% of cases, but there certainly were restaurants and fast food chains that did come up.
Including Taco Bell?
You know, I'm not going to comment on those specifics right now.
Nationwide, the CDC says it's confirmed 1,645 cases of cyclosporiasis and is aware of 5,100 more. Christina Serafino says she ate fresh fruits and vegetables hiking last month and got sick for weeks.
Just really strong gas and bloating pains. And on top of that, you're not eating, so you're hungry and you're having hunger pains also.
Yikes. Ann Thompson, thank you. And coming up, hundreds of healthcare workers have been killed in Lebanon since the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah started. Why this thing called double tap strikes might be to blame.
That was a little bit of a scramble for breaking news there. Let's see, we rent those pontoons all the time. Those are, I mean, that is a lot of people. What is it, 19 people on board? That's crazy. And they were saying that when they pulled up, it didn't seem like a lot of them were wearing life jackets, but they were able to get some of them directly from the boat off to maybe some of those support vessels before it went down. It's just horrible. The 3 people, I think, or 2 people missing, possibly 1 dead, and then we understand that there was a dog that was lost as well. So, oof. Let's see, Campbell, same. Jay Place, Lisa, are those background intros and white brand locally, or are they pre-rendered videos? Yeah, that's a great Lisa question. Let me throw her up here. Lisa.
Sorry, not me laughing at Jay Place's questions all the time. They're so good. Okay,
I don't
wait, what
know
was it again?
what that language is.
What was it again?
Are the background intros and wipes ran locally, or are they pre-rendered videos?
Background intros and wipes are, I believe they're pre-rendered. The live wipes that we take. I'm asking our director, Sean, who's sitting right next to me, because this was actually more of a question for him. They're asking if for the background, the intros, the wipes that we use, if they are pre-rendered. We have them all loaded into the control room, right? They are loaded into the switcher.
They're loaded into the switcher.
Yeah,
That's
so
a very complex
it's just
answer.
Click a button and off it goes. We don't render them in when we edit the video, if that helped you.
Meanwhile, more important news, Calla Lilly approves of the huarachas. Or huaraches?
1 minute.
Is it huaraches or huarachas?
We were talking today. Do you guys remember that episode of Friends where Chandler was wearing the huarachas and he gets stabbed in the toe and he loses a toe?
By the way,
shout
these are
out
dress
to the
shoes.
Gen X.
These are dress shoes. Like
those are dress shoes for Gotti.
These are studio dress shoes for sure. These are
For
shoes
Gotti Schwartz.
I bought for Savannah Sellers' wedding, and you know.
What was the dress code for Savannah's wedding?
I'm here, or yeah, okay. Very, very fancy. The fanciest wedding I've ever been to. It was in a Medici castle.
Wait, you wore that with like a tuxedo?
I wore this on one of the festivities.
Okay, that's not to the wedding though.
It was part of. She had 3 days of wedding.
10 seconds. 9, 8,
All right.
7, 6, 5 seconds. 4, 3.
Hey, welcome back. Tonight, as Israel's attacks continue against Hezbollah, we have new reporting on the scene in Lebanon. More than 130 healthcare workers have been killed there since the war broke out, and so-called double-tap strikes are often to blame. NBC's Danielle Hamamdjian has this one, but a warning, some viewers might find it disturbing to watch.
Paramedics in southern Lebanon say they're being targeted by Israeli forces. They've started wearing body cameras when responding to airstrikes. The footage shows a pause in strikes until paramedics begin their rescue operation before Israeli forces strike the same site again. It's a tactic known as a double tap strike.
كانت هي موجودة بهذه الأماكن وكانت مهمة الرئيسية إنقاذ إذا بدي أقول هون الناس أو هالجرحى اللي موجودين بهذا المكان يصير هن إذا بدي أقول أول شيء معرضين للاستهداف.
According to the Lebanese government, at least 135 healthcare workers have been killed since March, when Israel launched its offensive against Hezbollah. NBC News reviewed strike data and found that ambulances and medics were hit at least 116 times, with 28 of those cases matching the description of a double tap. Through video analysis and survivor interviews, we independently verified 7 apparent double tap strikes on Lebanese medics during that time. In each of the incidents we asked about, the IDF told us they were targeting terrorists and any additional civilian casualties were unintended. The IDF stated it does not have a policy of conducting double tap strikes. On April 15th, 24-year-old paramedic Karim Sabra and his younger brother Ali responded together to a strike on a civilian home in Mayfadoun, southern Lebanon.
على حمالة ميدانية شهيد عفوا على حمالة ميدانية لنا ننقله على الإسعاف يلا بسرعة خلينا نظهر بسرعة نخلص بسرعة بعني عم قال له خلينا نخلص بسرعة ونكمل استهداف.
The Lebanese civil defense shared this edited footage from the April 15th strikes. We interviewed survivors, compared the footage with satellite imagery, and analyzed strike data to verify what it shows. 20 minutes after the initial strike, we can see 2 more teams on the scene. Paramedics are loading Karim and Ali into the back of an ambulance when a 3rd strike shatters the back windows.
هاي الضربة الثالثة وما فقت إلا بعد 4 أيام من الحادثة. لا عرفت إنه خيي استشهد ورفقاتي اللي كانوا موجودين كانوا استشهدوا. بالمرات الجاية مثلا شو لازم أعمل؟ القرار اللي بدور ببالي إنه فقط إنقاذ إنقاذ إنقاذ.
For years, double-tap strikes have been used in conflicts around the world, but the tactic is broadly condemned by international rights groups. The Geneva Conventions, which govern the rules of war, ban intentional targeting of medical personnel, making these attacks possible war crimes. In a statement to NBC News, the IDF said they do not target medical personnel without evidence of military use. They provided videos showing what they say are Hezbollah weapons inside a damaged ambulance and said the Hezbollah terrorist organization systematically uses ambulances, medical personnel, and medical facilities for military purposes, including the transfer of weapons and the movement of operatives. The Lebanese civil defense denies those allegations. The IDF has yet to provide evidence of military activity by paramedic teams in any of the incidents we documented. Hussein Dakdouk is the leader of a civil defense unit in Nabatea. He faces a difficult choice: rush to provide aid or delay his team's response time to avoid double taps. But those critical minutes could mean the difference between life or death for the wounded.
إذا يتم استهدافه مرة تاني ومرة تالتة للحدث ننطرش 10 دقايق أوقات نص ساعة نروح نطلع على الحدث إذا في حدا ولا لا.
On May 12th, Hussein joined one of his teams on a call. A delivery driver had been injured in a drone attack near the civil defense office.
يجيب الإسعاف بركض بدي يجيب الإسعاف وإجي ننقذه ما بدور إسعاف غمضة فجأة قدامي بلاقي اخواتي وزملائي والشباب اللي كانوا معي طايرين بالجو بسبب استهدافهم بصاروخ من مسيرة.
Paramedics Ahmed Noor, Hussein Jaber, and the man they were trying to save all died at the scene.
أحمد وحسين كانوا شبان كتير بيحبوا الحياة من باب المزح والتنكيت. يعني أنا قبل ما يلتحق أحمد بالخدمة كان عم بيريح يومين ثلاثة عند عائلته، فبتحكي لي زوجته بتقول لي أحمد طالع على الخدمة، قلت لها إيه شو بدي أعمل هيك يعني؟ قلت لها وضعي جوزك وشمي وبعتي. هذه كانت صعبة جدا جدا جدا، إنه أنا بعيد المسحة مزحت وبعد يومين ثلاثة استشهد جوزها.
NBC's Danielle Imagine reporting powerful journalism there. Danielle, thank you. And coming up in the future of everything, a delivery company that is out of this world, how one company is working to make space and the delivery in space a possibility. Probably should add it. We'll be right back after.
All right, you're gonna stand for this one.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Shoot. Okay, I don't think I ever got to see inversion. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good. Nice.
One minute.
Okay, perfect. All right, we got space stuff coming up. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm reading what you guys are saying here.
45.
Yeah. I see what you guys are talking about. Understand. Okay, gonna do this. I don't even know where this is. We're staying away.
I'll situate it.
Okay.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna put it over
You
there.
want that?
I'll just put it there. All right, we got some space.
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
40 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's stealing the show right here.
Hey, we got people sneezing. Yeah, that was cool.
All
10
right.
seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 seconds. 4, 3, long animation, stand by.
And tonight in the race to space, a literal sprint up to the space station. Take a look at this.
Booster ignition now at full throttle and liftoff. Minin, Dubrov, and Kikina now on their way to the International Space Station as part of a 2-orbit journey.
No, that's not a NASA rocket. That's not a SpaceX rocket. This is liftoff from the Baikonur Cosmodrome aboard a Russian-made Soyuz rocket. And the Russians, I mean, they have really perfected the quickest trip up to the International Space Station. This one took off a little before 11 this morning Eastern time. They were already docking by about 2 this afternoon. That's like flying from New York to Florida. And with the addition of NASA astronaut Neil Menon, the 2 astronauts that were up there, the cosmonauts as well, the ISS is now home to 10 people. It's hard to take a group photo of that many, unless, of course, you can float upside down too, even with all the strife down here on Earth. It's just another reminder of what humans can do when we actually come together to work on something. And everyone knows the fastest route between 2 points is a straight line, right? But one company is thinking that the fastest way to move supplies around our planet might be to send them to outer space and then back down again. I sat down with the CEO of Inversion Space, who thinks that we all might be soon taking deliveries from near-Earth orbit. Check this out. When you're building a space-based delivery company, it turns out one of the hardest problems isn't just getting cargo off this world. Wow! It's getting stuff back down to Earth without it turning into a charcoal briquette.
When you enter the atmosphere 25 times the speed of sound, right? It gets hotter than the surface of the sun at the skin of our vehicle.
Justin Fischetti is the CEO and co-founder of Inversion, a SoCal-based company that wants to make special deliveries from outside our atmosphere to anywhere on Earth.
With a proper number of vehicles on orbit, we can deliver that 500 pounds of cargo to any place in as little as an hour.
How many of these do you envision up in space?
We're seeing thousands to tens of thousands in the next 10 years.
Tens of thousands of these preloaded, pre-positioned with all kinds of different cargo.
Yeah, totally. I mean, think about how many shipping containers there are. Think about how many UPS trucks exist. Fundamentally, as you look at the price curve of this, we start to become competitive with air freight.
A huge constellation is the long-term goal. Today, Inversion is still in the testing phase of the technology, and just like a lot of other aerospace innovations, their first applications will likely be for the military, who would be able to call down defense packages anywhere on the planet.
That is anything from medical supplies to ammunition to radios, those kinds of things that make a difference if they're had right on time versus if you don't get them for hours.
Inversion is also part of a group of companies working on the so-called Golden Dome U.S. missile defense system, being built to detect and shoot down incoming threats from the atmosphere. But for now, their expertise seems to be focused on the way a craft can move as it plows through hot plasma on atmospheric re-entry.
Our vehicles are specifically tuned to be highly maneuverable. And the vehicle shape is such that it can maneuver through the atmosphere without burning up. Really hard problem.
To test those kinds of conditions, they've built a 12,000-degree torch to blast the protective materials covering its arc capsule.
We're going to heat up our sample and move it in and out of the flame as if it were re-entering and maneuvering through the atmosphere.
Our atmosphere does that?
Yeah.
Wow! After surviving the upper atmosphere, the capsule then gets slowed by billowing parachutes built to open at the last seconds before the capsule hits the ground.
Huh. Parachute for spacecraft.
But for Fischetti, this is only the beginning. All of it building out tech for a future where humans can travel across the globe by taking a shortcut through space and make an orbit as regular as catching a flight.
Eventually, if you want to go to Japan to have lunch and then go to France to have dinner, you could. As these vehicles get more reliable, lower cost, why wouldn't we fly people?
The fastest way to get to point A to point B is actually going up into space and then dropping down like a bullet.
That's right.
If we do move into that future, how long is it going to take to get from anywhere on Earth to any other spot?
Most average flight time is probably going to be 45 minutes around the globe. A lot of things need to kind of happen between now and then, but it's very clear that's where this is going.
45 minutes? I mean, we'll see. And still to come, it is down to the wire in the World Cup. Just one more match to go until we find out who's going head-to-head in the finals. More ahead, but first, you got to see this. You know, Norwegian soccer player Erling Haaland, well, he brought home an unusual souvenir, a Dolce & Gabbana tote in one hand. Yep, that's a raccoon in the other with a bottle of whiskey. Erling even posted a poll to help name his new companion, and so far it looks like Row is winning. And no, not like row your Viking boat. We're talking more like raccoon on wheels. That is what's taking the lead. He's a fan favorite for a reason. We'll be right back.
All right, 3 minutes break here.
3 minutes. And then are we done? Or no, we still have, yeah, we're done.
This block we did.
Good job, yeah, we did it.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Good stuff. Are you? So I'm not a. If we do standby, who do we do? Where is that? Lids and nightly toughness. She's needed. 3E flash cam.
3E flash cam.
Okay.
Which is that little room when you make a left.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. Got it. All right. Wait. Hi. P.S. By the way, Twitch is saying these steady cam shots are money. So. Where'd he go? He just dropped the mic. He's like I'm out.
He's like I'm out. Yes.
I'm out. Guys, thank you guys so very much for watching. I think we're clear. The rest of the show is on television, so keep watching. We're gonna be streaming tomorrow and the day after, Actually, not Friday. Friday, I think I'm off. But see you on Monday and tomorrow and Thursday. So stay tuned. Bye, guys.
World Cup action is back, and the first team has officially punched their ticket to the World Cup final. That is España, the Spanish team, pulling off a convincing victory over France, winning that semifinal game 2-0. Now it awaits the winner of Argentina and England, who play tomorrow. Candace Sweat from NBC's station down in Dallas-Fort Worth had the game, and she was there a little bit earlier. Watch this report.
Gotti, the energy was electric. There were more than 70,000 fans who were able to get coveted seats inside of Dallas Stadium, but for the ones who could not, they found the nearest screen outside at Live by Lowe's, and they watched down to the very second. All along, Spain fans have been incredibly confident in what their team could do, and that absolutely makes sense, because if no one else believes in your team, your fan base will. And I have a feeling that Spain fans will be celebrating all evening long. As for France, a little bit of a disappointment. They just could not pull it off. It would have been their third straight trip to the final game, but that just didn't happen. We were able to talk to fans on both sides when the match ended.
The way Spain plays soccer is the most beautiful art of football. That's what we're looking for.
I'm very excited. I haven't seen this country play that well in so long, and there was definitely been some rough patches, but I'm glad they made it to the finals.
This is an experience like no other. Of course, I have my favorite teams. Of course, I want them to win. But it's about the sport, the community, and the global participation. It is better that humans share something that is positive rather than something that it is negative.
Hey, honestly, we all were shocked, but we had so much pride in our team. We knew they were going to come out. Everyone thought France was going to win, but the underdogs always make it to the top.
And so those tens of thousands of fans are now spilling out of the stadium into the streets of Dallas. And I have a feeling, again, that these Spain fans are going to light up the city all night long. That confidence is going to carry them over into who they match up with next. It's going to be between Argentina and England. But we are here at Live by Lowe's, where the energy, again, has been incredibly electric. In Arlington, Texas, Candace Sweat, NBC.
Candace, thank you so much, and shout out for finding the most poetic French fan ever. And finally tonight, life finds a way to, I don't know, a huge payday. Take a look at this. This awesome T-Rex skeleton sold for just over $50 million. The price tag for those fossilized bones, nicknamed Gus, set an auction record as the most expensive dinosaur fossil ever sold. Not without some controversy, though. Marquise Francis has more on this incredible Jurassic sale.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, the king of the dinosaurs 60 million years ago. Today, fetching a king's ransom at auction. The fossilized skeleton, nicknamed Gus, setting a new record. Sold at auction for just over $50 million, Sotheby's says. The ancient apex predator, 38 feet long and 12.5 feet high, about the size of a yellow school bus.
Gus is one of the biggest and most complete T-Rex ever found.
Sotheby's putting out this video to hype the auction, saying Gus is 61% complete by bone count and nearly 80% complete by total mass, ranking up there with famous T-Rexes like the Chicago Field Museum's Sue. It was found by commercial paleontologist Thomas Heitkamp and his team, commissioned in 2021 to find fossils on a South Dakota ranch. They spotted one bone, a needle in a 6,500-acre haystack. Heitkamp making the case for private funding for such excavations.
We're in some pretty remote, dense areas that are hard to get to, that are expensive to get to, that are logistically dangerous. No one else is looking in those places.
NBC News was unable to reach him for comment. Digging Gus up and rebuilding the skeleton took years. Now it's payday. The colossal price tag is unearthing concerns about its scientific value and who will have access to it. A recent study found that the majority of discovered T-Rex fossils are privately owned, making it harder for museums to acquire specimens as prices rise.
If we want to understand how smart T-Rex was, what it ate, how it moved, what its world was like, its environment was like, this fossil really is a crown jewel.
Dinosaur fossils, a hot commodity for the super rich. Another T-Rex, Stan, sold for more than $30 million in 2020. And the Stegosaurus, Apex, sold for almost $45 million in 2024. In both cases, the buyers loaned the fossils to museums, Paleontologist Dr. Steve Brusati says he hopes whoever bought Gus will do the same.
Donate it to a museum. Get it out there. Make it so it's not only you that can enjoy this, but millions of people. That's how you can make a real impact.
The dinosaurs couldn't escape the destructive force of an asteroid in the prehistoric world. Now, their legacy trying to survive between market forces of capitalism and advancing science. Marquise Francis, NBC News.
Capitalism and dinosaurs. Marquise Francis, thank you very much. That's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Gotti Schwartz. We'll see you here tomorrow. But until then, stay tuned to NBC News.